Hey girl, hey! Welcome back to my channel. Chill, take a load off. We're gonna play with some makeup today. If this is your first time here, my name is Jensine, otherwise known as Jelanaps, and today we're gonna be playing with the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. Now, I wanna show you what this palette looks like. The packaging here, it's like this lush, or I should say plush fabric. You can like push on it, there's like a little cushion here. It looks really classy. When you open it up, there's a mirror. I just haven't taken off the little, sticky that's on there to protect it. And these are what the shades look like. They're beautiful. I'm gonna put up for you a picture of the swatches that I had on my Instagram stories. Now, I'm gonna say these are meant for somebody who likes everyday kind of makeup, so you're not gonna find anything too crazy outlandish in this palette here, but you have a lot of choices as far as color combinations, regular neutrals, smoky glam. You've got some warm tones in here, so they really wanted to put something in here for everybody. Now, I had to dig out my old Naked palette. This was like the first high-end palette that I ever bought. I didn't end up really using it that much. I mean, it's nice, but I felt like most of the colors in here were a little bit too ashy for me, or they weren't as pigmented. Now that I know more about makeup, I mean, I could definitely make this work, but I have a lot of other eyeshadow palettes that I prefer. I just keep this because it's like nostalgic for me, my first high-end palette, so I don't really want to throw it away. But I want to bring these two kind of side by side so you can compare. This one, the Reloaded, definitely looks a lot more pigmented than this one right here. I mean, don't get me wrong, this one, it's a classic, but this one, to me, looks much more visually appealing, more like a palette that I would reach for, you know what I mean? Now, I will say this palette is $44. I feel like for Urban Decay, that's normal. They usually have palettes that are priced very high up there in the mid 40s to, 50s/60s, depending on how many shades are in there. So there are 11 shades in this total. I feel like this is gonna appeal to a lot of people who love neutrals. Some people only wanna do neutrals. So if you're somebody that likes color, this is probably gonna be a little bit boring for you. However, if you wanna see how I created this look, you wanna see my thoughts on the palette, how I think it performs, whether or not it's worth your money, keep watching. All right, so since this palette is the star of the show today, I figure why not start with the eyes. So I'm gonna do a really beautiful bronze smoky eye. When I look at this is just everyday colors, and the browns here, neutrals, oh, they're just calling to me. So I'm gonna go ahead, scoot you a little bit closer so you can really see what's going on with my eyes. So I'm pretty sure you can probably see every pore on my face, but that's all right because you'll really be able to see what's going on with this eye look. Now I'm gonna start, first off, I'm gonna prime with my Fenty primer. I'm gonna show some love to this one. I've been using the Balm one recently, and I was like, you know what? Let me go back to this one. So I'm just gonna be putting this all over my lid. I'm gonna be buffing this out with just a concealer brush. Now, for me, this is a step I always do. I have to set this with translucent powder so that it doesn't transfer, and that way my eye makeup can last longer throughout the day. Okay, so now that the eyes are nice and primed, they are ready for the first transition color. Now I'm gonna go in and take this color right here, Bucked, and I'm gonna put this in my transition area. Now I have this funky little angled brush here. This is a crease brush from Delium Tools. It's the 769, and I'm just going to go ahead and sweep that in windshield wiper motion and just slowly build in that color. You never want to go in with too much, because it's always better to build it up than to have too much and just to keep blending and blending and blending, hoping that it's going to be diffused enough. So I really like to mix transition colors, so I'm going to go into this one right here, Retro, and put it in that same area that I put Bucked in, and just blend that out. I'm going to be using my Fenty blending brush. This is the 210 blending brush. Okay, so I do have to say, you know, looking at all these transitions, some of them are fine, but I do wish they had some that were a little bit on the warmer tone side, but also that would suit deeper skin tones. Like, this is okay, but I just feel like it's not the typical transition color that I would go for, but it's something that I can work with. Next, I'm gonna go into this deep brown right here. It's called End Game, and I'm gonna put that in my outer crease, and then I'm going to slowly start to buff it up into my transition area and bring it to like the middle of my eye. So a little something that I wanna share with you guys is I'm starting to notice that these colors take a lot of work to blend. Just, you know, compared to something like ColourPop or something, it's like a big letdown because it is an expensive palette, you know, in the higher end range, and I just am like, damn, that really sucks. But if you're somebody that doesn't really mind that, you know, then it's gonna be okay for you. You can finesse it. I'm just like really after that seamless blend, and I'm just like, okay, this is gonna take me longer than expected, you know? Okay, so it took a lot of blending, but this is what I got here. It's now a smooth gradient between transition and the, you know, deep outer corner, but it took some time to get here. I kind of feel like I said before, that shouldn't be necessary. Okay, so also I want to show you there seems to be a lot of kickback in the pan. So you always need to make sure that you tap any excess powder or pigment off, but this is quite a little bit for just my first use. Now I'm gonna go into this bronzy color Distilled, and this is gonna be my main lid color. So I'm gonna use a flat shadow brush to go ahead and pack this. I will be wetting the brush as well because that's how I like my shimmers to go on. I like them to be nice and pigmented and poppin'. So immediately I wanna let you guys know I'm starting to notice that not much pigment is coming on with a wet brush. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my finger and figure out if I can get this to be more pigmented. Okay, so now I'm gonna use a makeup wipe to just take away that excess fallout. And I'm actually really glad that I did my eyes first because honestly, there was a lot more fallout than I'm used to. So that's something that you want to keep in mind if you want to try out this palette. So just want to talk about that shimmer color real quick that's on my eyes. I found that it applied best with a wet finger. So spray your finger with some setting spray and go in that color, and then literally use your finger to just stamp it on there. Don't do so much wiping, just like stamp. And I feel like that deposits the color. I mean, look at this. This looks beautiful. Like it's gonna be really pigmented, but I'm honestly quite surprised that the pigmentation isn't really there. I feel like with a lot of Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes, it's really hit or miss as far as that pigmentation really popping on the lid. Now, in true bronzy, smoky eye fashion, I'm gonna take a black liner. This is a pencil liner. This is from CoverGirl. I love these. It's the Full Spectrum Defining Moment. And I'm gonna use this to line my top lash line. And then I'm going to be smudging that out. And I'm gonna use just a little small smudger brush. You can use any that you have in your collection. It's gonna produce the same result. I'm gonna pop some mascara on. This is the It Cosmetics Superhero Mascara. And I've been using this a lot lately just because it delivers such great results. And look, I mean, you can actually see my lashes. If I wasn't addicted to falsies, then I would just rock this as is, but I gotta add my falsies. Okay, so now I'm ready to prime my face. I'm gonna be using the Touch in Sol No Problem Primer, and I'm just gonna use it on everywhere except my T-zone because that's going to be reserved for my mattifying primer. Now for my T-zone, I've got my CoverGirl Full Spectrum. This is what it looks like. It actually has SPF, but surprisingly, it does not leave a white cast on my face at least, so I really like that. Now I have not tested it with any flashback as far as photos, but you know, if you can imagine, every time you use SPF or use a product that has SPF, you can most likely expect flashback. So I'm really happy for foundation. I can use my Black Radiance stick. Out of all the foundations that I've been trying lately, this one is the one that I just keep going back to. And this is what the color looks like. So it's slightly off, but by the time I actually add all my powders and my concealer, you know, it looks really nice. So now I'm gonna go over all of this with my makeup sponge just to get a better blend, because although the brush is great, you know, it doesn't do everything for you. For concealer, I'm going in with N Deep 2. This is from the Cover FX Power Play Concealer line. And I'm just going to go into all the normal areas. Under my eyes, the bridge of my nose, my forehead, my upper lip area, and also my chin. Okay, so I like the coverage. You know, a great thing about this concealer is I feel like it's like medium to full. You don't really need too much to get the kind of coverage that you want. For my powder today, I'm using the Patrick Star powder. I haven't used this in a while, and I do have to say, although I was very tough on it in my review because I really don't like the packaging and the pricing for how much you get is not that great, I do love the results. The results are just beautiful. That being said, there are a lot of powders on the market right now. So obviously, if that's not something that you're willing to sacrifice for, you know, paying that extra price for that smaller quantity, which I don't blame you for, you know, there are other options there. Now, I will say you get like a really nice blurring effect with this specific powder. It's like the Fenty blurring, but it does not, for me at least, it does not make it kind of like you know, dry looking under the eyes to accentuate the fine lines. The Fenty powder definitely does do that for me, unfortunately, under my eyes, but I just wanted to illustrate that difference for you. So now it's time to contour. I'm gonna be using this Milani stick. It's the highlight and contour stick, and this is in the deep dark. And I'm just going to put it in all the normal areas right here and right in my jawline. I'm not using too much because by the time I buff this all out, honestly, it's going to diffuse. So you always want to start with just a little bit and then blend it out. And if you need to, you can always add more and more and more, you know, as opposed to adding too much at first. So next up, we've got the BH Cosmetics and It's My Ray Ray palette, one of my favorite affordable products. And I'm gonna go into the contour side, and I'm going to use this one right here. This is Mocha. Now, you guys have seen me use this blush so much, but honestly, it's so good. Like, I just have to say, it never lets me down. Plus, I like that the shimmer in there gives me a little bit more pizzazz, you know? So with this kind of natural glam look, like, I don't mind adding a lot of blush because I feel like the eyes are so neutral glam that, you know, the blush doesn't look overpowering. I'm gonna quickly spritz my face down with some MAC Fix Plus to take away some of this powder, and then also it's really gonna make the highlight stand out. So my highlighter of choice today, it's going to be this one right here, French Toast. I'm gonna take my highlighting brush, just dip this in because I know these highlighters are so pigmented. So the highlight looks good. Of course, I gotta spray some more setting spray on top. So this time I'm gonna be using the Urban Decay. This is the Naked Cherry edition. It just smells so good. I personally like it more than the regular all-nighter, but that's just my personal preference. I feel like it's a little bit more mattifying. For today's lip combo, I'm going in with MAC Chestnuts. I mean, what else would I use? At this point, I've got a million lip liners and I stay using this one. So I'm just going to line my lips, bring it in towards the center, typical nude lip combo. Then I'm gonna take this shade right here. It's called Bun Bun, and it's from the Kristen Leanne collection. It's one of my favorite nudes. Oh man, there's something about just the way it looks on my complexion. Ooh. And then for the gloss portion of this, we're gonna use the ColourPop from the Brown Sugar collection. This is called Dumpling. I hope you enjoyed this look as much as I did. Now, if you want to check out some of my other Urban Decay reviews, check out the playlist right next to me, Best and Worst of Urban Decay Cosmetics. As always, I love you guys. Thank you for kicking it with me today, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!